Hello, this is Chad Payne with Lens Software. This is going to be video number 24 in the video series Homework Research and Statistics that you can find at lensoft.com/homework. I just tweeted an interesting stat and I thought I'd expand on it a little bit. What I was looking at is a 30-minute bar prior to the session open. So the 30-minute period just before the session opens. I'm looking at that range. And I was actually trying to debug a situation, so I was trying to look for situations where the range of that bar was outside of the day's range that followed. And what I discovered was it's very hard to find that situation. So I wanted to see, well, how often is that 30-minute bar the high or the low outside of the day's range, and how often is it engulfed within the day's session. And what I discovered was over 90% of the time, that complete 30-minute period before the session opens, the high and the low, are within the day session range that follows. It was actually 90.1%, so just over 90%. That's a pretty big number. So what can you extract from that? Well, you know, the session opens and it moves to one end of that bar. Well, you can expect 90% of the time it's going to move to the other end. So I dug a little further, and I assume that generally happens pretty quickly. It engulfs it pretty quickly. So what I did was look at how often did we engulf that bar within the first 30 minutes of trading of the day session, and that was 77% of the time. But there's still some good information there, because that means that 13% of the time we probably hit one side of that pre-30 bar, but we had not hit the other. And so I guess 23% of the time we've hit either neither side of that pre-30 bar or one side or the other at the end of the first 30 minutes of trading. And when that happens, over half of that, 13 out of 23, 13 over 23, we move back to the other side, and then 10 out of 23 we don't move back to the other side. So there's still some pretty good information there. That means well over 50% of the time, when that first 30 minutes of trading after the session opens is completed, it's more likely, if we've only hit one end of that pre-30 bar, then it's more likely that we're going to move back and hit the other end than we're not. So it's around 60% of the time, or 58% of the time. So anyway, I thought that was some pretty interesting information. You can I'll share this chart definition. I also have another chart. Let me show you how I extract that pre-30 bar, the 30 minutes prior to the day session. This is a Globex session 31 chart, and I have two lines, both using the session statistics indicator. I'm doing highest high of the first 1,020 minutes, which is the overnight period. Okay, and if your session times are different, you'll need to adjust that. But 1,020 is the number of minutes in my overnight session, and I'm ignoring the first 990 minutes. So this gives me the high of that 30-minute period right before the session opens, and I did the same for the low. So these two instances of session statistics gives me the high and low of that pre-30 bar. Now on this chart, I've got signals that these dots tell me that that pre-30 bar was within the day's session. Let me show you how I did that. I'm just looking for, this is getting the pre-session high, and this is getting the this gets the pre-session high, the 30 minutes before the session. This gets the day session high. Let me show you how I got those. I'm using MPD. I'm using MPD on a daily chart and digging in and looking at the 30-minute bars within, using the session statistics indicator within that with the same settings we looked at before to get that pre-30 high. And then I'm using the last custom statistical result, last 30-minute bar within the session. That gives me what I want. And then for the day high, simply did the highest high of all bars of the day session. So that's how I extract that basically the intraday data out from within these daily bars. So I'll share this chart definition. You can adjust the symbol in the chart. You can adjust the view period if you want to look at more days or fewer days, just the last, maybe you just want to look at the last year. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please email support@lensoft.com.